Sister wives Meri Brown breaks silence on status with Cristin. While living in polygamy, Meri Brown had incredibly strained relationships with her sister wives. She seemed to get along best with Robin, but even that friendship buckled during Meri's final days in Flagstaff. The TLC star felt incredibly isolated in Arizona and struggled to connect to anyone else in the family. After breaking up with Cody, leaving for Utah seemed like an easy decision. Since returning to Utah, Meri has established a great group of friends and thoroughly enjoys life now. But does she keep in touch with anyone from her past? Meri Brown dishes on her relationships with Cristin Woolley. As Sister Wives fans excitedly watch Meri Brown discover herself on screen, she's also giving more interviews about her personal life. While speaking to Entertainment Tonight, she revealed she lost the journal Robin gave her. Us Weekly recently caught up with Meri to discuss her relationship with Cristin Brown Woolley. Where do they stand today? I wish her all the best. We have had a lot of life together. We've had a lot of fun in our past, but our paths just don't align right now. Meri shared in the interview, revealing they don't have much of a relationship any longer. They may crisscross here and there throughout our lives, but we're not living parallel lives anymore. Fans weren't surprised to learn Cristin and David Woolley didn't invite Cody or Robin Brown to their wedding. But some felt taken aback they also didn't include Meri, especially since they invited her child, Leon. However, Meri admitted she completely understood. It was totally fine. I think that weddings you need to just have the people around you that you are most comfortable with, and I wasn't that for her, and I'm totally fine with that. The TLC star continued. I think that both of us have probably really just embraced the fact that this is where we are in our lives and we wish each other the best. I know that she does the same for me. Where does the TLC star stand with other former sister wives? While speaking to Us Weekly, Meri reiterated that she hoped Cristin was living her best life and bore no ill will toward her. But what about Janelle and Robin? Meri and Janelle Brown had an incredibly strained relationship throughout their years as sister wives. Now that they've both left Cody, it seems the situation has improved. Meri shared that she and Janelle speak on occasion and are kind to one another, something she is happy with. But the same can't necessarily be said about Meri and Robin. We don't talk very often, she said about Cody's only remaining wife. I'm in a place of moving forward in my life and doing things that progress my life, and that's just kind of part of my past. Meri Brown had always believed in keeping certain aspects of her life private, even as cameras captured her every move for the world to see on Sister Wives. Over the years, her struggles within her marriage to Cody and her place within the plural family had been laid bare. But when Cristin Brown announced her separation from Cody and subsequently began her relationship with David Woolley, the dynamics within the Brown family shifted dramatically. And for Meri, those changes brought unexpected introspection and an inevitable confrontation with the lingering questions about her own status in the family. On a crisp winter morning in Flagstaff, Meri decided it was time to address the swirling rumors and unspoken tension between her and Cristin. The two women hadn't been particularly close in years, their interactions marked more by necessity than genuine camaraderie. Yet, there was a time when they had shared laughter and understanding, a bond forged not out of choice but shared circumstance. I'm done hiding, Meri whispered to herself as she sat in her small but cozy living room. The glow of the fireplace reflected in her eyes, a mix of resolve and trepidation. She reached for her laptop and began typing a heartfelt blog post, a practice she had recently adopted to clear her thoughts. But this time, the audience wouldn't just be her. It would be everyone. Life in a plural family is complicated, she wrote, and when the ties that bind us start to fray, it's easy to lose sight of what's truly important. For years, I've struggled to find my place in this family. I've felt isolated, misunderstood, and frankly, undervalued. But this isn't about my relationship with Cody or my journey of self-discovery. This is about Cristin. Cristin and I have had our ups and downs, as many of you have seen. We've clashed over priorities, parenting styles, and even our roles within the family. But what hasn't been as apparent is the respect I've always had for her determination and strength. Cristin made a bold decision to step away from our shared life, and while I initially struggled to understand it, I've come to realize it's what she needed to find happiness. Meri paused, her fingers hovering over the keys. Would Cristin see this as an olive branch or an unwelcome intrusion? She pushed forward, knowing she had to speak her truth. Weeks later, the blog post, titled Finding Peace in Change, went live, and the response was immediate. Fans of the show dissected every word, speculating on whether Mary's post hinted at a reconciliation between the two women or simply served as a way for her to process her emotions. Cristin, now living a vibrant life with David Woolley, couldn't ignore the post either. Against her usual instincts to avoid public confrontations, Cristin decided to reach out to Meri. It started with a simple text. Thanks for the kind words. Coffee soon? Meri stared at her phone, her heartbeat quickening. Cristin's response was unexpected, but it was also an opportunity. When the two women met at a quiet cafe on the outskirts of town, there was an undeniable tension in the air. Cristin's face was open and cheerful, but her eyes searched Meri's for sincerity. Meri, on the other hand, felt the weight of years of misunderstandings and missed chances to connect. I didn't expect you to reach out, Meri said, her voice tinged with vulnerability. Cristin stirred her coffee thoughtfully. I wasn't sure I would. But after reading your post, I realized we've let so much go unsaid. And honestly, I'm tired of avoiding things. Meri nodded, her hands clasped tightly around her own mug. I wrote that because I needed to say it. Not for the cameras or the fans, but for myself. I've been carrying a lot of resentment, Cristin. Some of it towards you, but mostly toward the situation we were in. Cristin's expression softened. I get it, more than you know. For years, I felt like I was screaming into a void, trying to be heard, trying to matter. And when I finally decided to leave, I wasn't just leaving Cody. I was leaving the dynamic we all had. Meri looked down at her coffee. When you left, I thought you were abandoning all of us. But now I see you were saving yourself. And maybe that's something I've needed to learn too. Their conversation stretched for hours, touching on everything from the early days of their sisterhood to the moments that had driven them apart. For the first time in years, they spoke openly, without the filters of the show or the expectations of their shared history. And as they talked, something shifted. By the time they parted ways, the icy barriers between them had begun to thaw. Cristin hugged Meri tightly, a gesture that surprised them both. We don't have to be best friends, Cristin said, but we can be better than we were. Meri smiled, a genuine warmth lighting up her face. I'd like that. In the weeks that followed, the two women began to rebuild their connection, slowly but intentionally. Cristin invited Meri over to her new home, where David greeted her with kindness and an easy charm that put her at ease. For her part, Meri introduced Cristin to some of the projects she'd been working on, including her bed and breakfast in Utah, where Cristin's laughter soon echoed through the halls during a spontaneous girls' weekend. The shift didn't go unnoticed by the rest of the family. Janelle, ever the pragmatist, expressed quiet support, while Robin watched with guarded curiosity. Cody, predictably, had mixed feelings, struggling to understand the bond forming between two women who had both, in their own ways, distanced themselves from him. Months later, as Meri sat in her living room reflecting on the journey she and Cristin had undertaken, she felt a sense of peace she hadn't known in years. Their relationship was far from perfect, but it was real, built not on obligation, but mutual respect and a shared desire to heal. For Meri, breaking her silence hadn't just been about addressing the rumors or defining her status with Cristin. It had been about finding her voice, and in doing so, rediscovering the strength that had always been within her. Sometimes, she wrote in a new blog post, you have to let go of what you thought life would look like to embrace what it can become. Cristin and I are proof that even the most fractured relationships can find their way back to something meaningful. And for that, I'm grateful.